All right, hi, everybody. Meteorologist David Glean here on this wintry Saturday afternoon, the 24th of January. And thank you, those of you who've been watching our live streams throughout the day. I want to thank Bill Race for being here this morning and been watching things throughout the day. Had that first nice little round early this morning that we talked about in our live stream last night. Got a little bit of snowflakes and spots, just enough for some photos. Great pictures by all of y'all sent in, by the way. Had a bit of a break. And now what you see is that moisture moving back in. And now we've got the sherbet type of looking different colors here, indicating what's going on. And what's happening here, and I'll talk more about that in detail in a minute, is we've got warm air coming in up above, okay? Cold air still at the surface. And I'll show you the surface temperatures coming up. And now we got that true mixture of rain and freezing rain. There might be a little bit of sleet, but the more that temperatures warm aloft, and that's going to continue happening throughout the night, the more this is more a freezing rain and rain situation. And we'll be watching to see how quickly some areas warm. That's the key. And that's what we've been talking about the past several nights, is how quickly can you limit your time below freezing and limit the icing situation. And it's going to vary from location to location. Of course, higher elevations will be a little bit longer, but also at in valley pockets, you're going to have some that just the cold air gets trapped. And you know this from driving around. You could be in the city and see your car thermometer and be like, for example, 40. You get home, you live kind of away from the city, even in the valley pockets, 35 degrees. A lot different. So it's going to be changing, but we do anticipate, a lot of models are showing that, but forecast models are one thing, reality is another. So it may be happening slower than models want to show, but gradually between now and say midnight, that's that critical time frame where we could see more of that freezing rate happening, but then a gradual rising in temperature. And it'll take longer in some spots, but as the night goes on, and I'll show you in the models, gradual warming as well. But I still believe the higher elevation is more susceptible to the icing. A couple of reasons. It's going to have the icing happening, but also strong wind gusts, and that could be a problem as well. So I want to thank everybody for joining me for this update, and we'll keep this going for a little while, and we have other live updates going on air as well, so a lot going on, live coverage all throughout the weekend. So let's show you this. This is all that freezing rain and rain moving in. Now, again, the radar tries to estimate what's going on. When you see the purple shading, that may mean a little sleet mixed in. But again, as I mentioned, the warmer it starts getting aloft, the more it's just going to be flat out rain. For example, we're sitting at 30 here outside our studios. I went outside a moment ago, and it's mainly just rain coming down, but it's freezing rain because it'll be freezing on exposed objects that are close to the air temperature. If you notice, a lot of the roadways, a lot of them not bad. A lot of them have been treated, but there have been some secondary roads that have been bad. But by and large, all that accumulation was happening on your decks, sidewalks, and your cars, and the ground had a little covering that kind of went away. The ground is still benefiting from the warmth from yesterday. In the past couple of days, we got near 50. So it hasn't been too bad there, but it's these exposed objects like tree limbs, power lines, decks, car tops, and whatnot. And, that'll be more susceptible to a little bit of icing as we go through the night. So again, we're going to see all this activity picking up a little bit more this evening, and then the really deep moisture starts coming in later on into the night. So let me back this up and show you the temperatures out there. And this is wild too. There's such a big change in temperature area wide. This map will come up momentarily. Look at this. So you basically draw a line north of the state line, all right, below freezing. You go to the south. See that wind coming in from the southeast? All right, that's having a big effect there. So this is coming in from this way, all right? But still there's that wedge of cold air coming down from the northeast, and it's holding these temperatures down. And right in between this upper level trough, right here, that's backing up. So it's kind of trying to push those temperatures up. And all it takes is a degree or two to make the difference between wet and icy. So in the city, 30, but it's falling as rain. It's reaching the surface as freezing rain. So freezing rain and sleet are two different things. Sleet, little ice pellets that hit and bounce, and they don't cause much problem. They accumulate on the ground, sure, but they don't cause a lot of problem for traveling unless you get a huge volume of it. Freezing rain all falls as rain. You look at your window, it's just raining, but it reaches the surface and freezes on contact to surfaces that are below freezing. So that's our big problem now. Whitwell, Cleveland, Athens, all still hovering right near freezing. But look at Murphy, though. That upslope back here in the mountains, 45. Not a problem there. That's why when I show you the outline of the warnings and advisories, why Polk and Monroe were just an advisory and not an ice storm warning, because of this flow pattern, the topography, keeping it a little bit warmer. Rome's at 44, 10 degrees warmer than Dalton. So south of the state line, it's improving a bit. And eventually a lot of this will start nudging northward, but at varying stages through the night, kind of creeping on in. So that's what we're watching very, very closely. Now look at regional temperatures. Oh, come now. I want to show you regional temperatures there. Did I include that? Oh, I turned it off. Here it comes. There we go. Now look at this. Look at Atlanta 40. Look at Birmingham to Huntsville. They got a huge drop. And you can see right where that upper level trough is. It's right. I'll draw a line. It's right here. Like that. All right. And it's trying to back up. All right. So it's warming aloft and eventually that'll reach the surface. But look at that. That's crazy. You've got temperatures below freezing right along the line and well below freezing back behind it. Big problems in Nashville with snow and ice, back to Memphis, much colder, Tupelo. This area right in here, really hard icing. And the same thing right here in this northeast corner of Georgia. And then right in between for us, we're in that sort of battle zone where there'll be some and then eventually starting to get that changeover happening as you go through the night. Now we'll go back to the radar view. Let me show you again the outline of all the warnings here. This will take just a second. So the National Weather Service has continued that ice storm warning, and for good reason, because again, it's going to be critical starting now through about midnight, where we're going to see the majority of that happening, and then gradually lesser areas impacted through the overnight hours. All right. South and north is where you still have that ice storm warning in effect. That's not changed at all. These are in effect till 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, but I think that the bulk of this is this evening. I don't think they changed their expiration time there. Let me just give you an example. Yeah, that's still until Monday, because that's another reason, is because of the runoff of rain tomorrow could freeze on Monday morning. But as far as the true ice storm conditions where you can have icing with precipitation with freezing rain, that's mainly this evening. And notice again, they've got Cherokee and Clay County, though Murphy's at 45. But notice how they left out Polk and Monroe County. National Weather Service in Morristown keeps that as an advisory because that wind flow is keeping temperatures up there. It's a very strong wind at that, but it's helping mix the air, warm things up, and prevent icing. So that's a good thing, okay? North and west, still getting more of that mixture, a little sleet mixed in. They've had more snow today, parts of the plateau. And then the winter weather advisory continues here. Franklin, Jackson, DeKalb, and then there's the advisory I talked about here. So everybody's covered by an advisory or warning of some kind, simply because of the risk of icing going through the night. So there's our radar view. Let's take a little closer inspection, shall we? And help me out here for you folks. They got on the comments here. Let me know what you have in your area right now, because we can show you the radar. And the radar sits here and tries to tell us what's happening. It's not always correct. You may be saying, hey, it's showing it's not purple rain, by the way, but it's showing purple, indicating some sleet mixed in. But are you seeing sleet? That I'd like to know. Are you seeing a little bit of snow with that? Because the air mass is still a little dry. Anytime you get a little dry air, it could still be some sleet and snow mixed in. But it's just a wide range. And if you're trying to travel tonight, it's going to be tricky. You probably just want to stay put, okay? Because light rain and a small change in temperature could mean travel conditions just worsen, okay? Especially when you get to the higher terrain. So Beverly says Sleeton and Trenton, and that matches up pretty well. See that purple right in there? So that matches up right about right. Good to hear that. Josh says icicles, Milton, and Flintstone, but that's what we want to hear. I am at this point, when anytime you're dealing with an ice storm warning, I am all for raining at 33 degrees. Anything that's above freezing, I just want it to be rain. Nobody wants an ice storm. Okay. Those, I don't want it. 38 in Calhoun from Andrea. Thank you. Anna says freezing rain in East Ridge. Okay. So you got freezing rain coming down there. Kim says little sleet in North Chat. All right. Freezing rain, Chickamauga. So thank you, Nicole. Tiffany says nothing in Lafayette. 32 degrees flat top from Lisa. Brenda says 29 degrees, freezing rain, collecting on the mailbox, trash can, fences. Hey, Brenda, let me know where you are. Yes, Tracy, there's nothing wrong with purple rain either. No. We ought to play that in the background. Let's let the guitar strum there. But yeah, I just didn't want, that always comes up when we show the purple. Pink shading showing more freezing rain. So I think we're going to see more of that sleet disappearing gradually and becoming all more freezing rain. So again, this may not match exactly what you have in your viewing area because again, these radars can have a hard time deciphering who has what, but we know farther south temperatures are above freezing. So the green represents more rain. You get more mixing the farther north you go. And that's what we're seeing north of the city, all the way to 10 miles, Spring City, up to Pikeville, up to Crossville, all that snow that you've been wanting. We had a little bit this morning, just enough to see it falling. It was kind of cool. Is well north of I-40, well into Kentucky, and then farther back to the west. Now, if we expand the view a bit, we're starting to get this little bit here that's over us now. And then even deeper moisture comes in the later into the night we go. Now, along with that is trying to transport that warmth. But again, what happens up above, it may take longer to warm at the surface. And you get that cold, shallow layer of air stuck. And sometimes it'll take some valley pockets, as I mentioned, some colder valley areas and some higher elevations much longer to get above freezing. And we're really worried about those higher elevations because I think the duration of icing there is going to last a little bit longer. Leading to some ice accumulation that could be in that quarter to half inch range. And that could cause some tree damage, some power outages, and even in the valley, a little while, enough to make it slick. Okay. So Kimmy says freezing rain, 25 Dayton Mountain. That matches up about right. Most of the mountains are still mid to upper 20s. Bobby says East McMinn County, 33. Hardly anything happening, but that's good. You get above freezing, that's a good thing. Kim says raining at Fort O. Watch that temperature, though. Even on exposed objects near or below freezing might still cause issues. Otherwise, just wet. And there's going to be a lot of areas tonight that are just a cold rain, and it's just wet, and that's not a problem. But that's where I would rather be. It's where it's raining and not with freezing rain. Ashley says 23 signal. Christina says light freezing rain, cold right on the Tennessee-Georgia border. Well, it's right there where that dividing line where the temperatures are. And we're going to be watching that real carefully throughout the night, how quickly those temperatures start to move up. Now, deeper moisture is going to come in tomorrow. And this is what we got to deal with tomorrow. It's more of that heavier rain coming in. But this area right in here, this part of Mississippi, north of Jackson, I would say Tupelo, Oxford, areas like that are going to be really hit hard. Tremendous amount of ice. And the same thing as I just mentioned, northeastern parts of Georgia. All right, so this takes us to about 6:30. So a little over an hour from now. Okay, a little over an hour from now. You may have, again, we'll see that mixture of rain and still getting some sleet, freezing rain mixed in. Higher elevations will still be stuck in the 20s. So as I mentioned, I really think from now to midnight is our critical time as we watch and see how quickly temperatures start to warm. Watch our little icing in the valley, more so at the higher elevations, lasting a little while longer. But notice how we go from 6:30. Let's jump ahead to about 11:30. Notice how more of that southeast wind kicks in. All right. So we've got more areas getting above freezing. Not everybody, but more areas. So you start seeing more of that green popping up, and then you still have higher elevated areas and some little areas that are stubborn to warm, still holding on to that. The deeper we get into the night, more of that southerly wind takes over. So temperatures may drop back a little bit, going back and forth from rain back to freezing rain. And then gradually, during the pre-dawn hours, as everything up above, the strong southerly jet screams up above us, it's going to really help warm temperatures up just enough, just a few degrees. It may not feel warm, but it's just enough to impact wet versus icy. So by first thing in the morning, it's all mainly rain. There'll still be a few pockets left over, but eventually all rain and pretty heavy rain at that. And I mentioned earlier, wouldn't surprise me if some areas get some thunder tomorrow. How crazy is that? You go from a little snow, a little sleet, a little freezing rain, a little thunder, have 3 seasons all in one day. Let me take a look at my little weather station at my house. Let's see. Our house is on Missionary Ridge. It's just a little over 1,000 feet elevation, not that high. We're sitting at about 30. A couple hours ago, it was at 28. So it has come up just a little bit. Let me look at the temperature graph there. See if it'll give me more details. I like to look at these graphs. It goes by the decimal point. So yeah, it's been moving. It moved about 2 degrees in 2 hours. So that's a sign of things trying to climb just a little bit. Now, of course, as the air becomes saturated, it kind of cools back down, then starts the warming process again. But then as we go toward tomorrow afternoon, again, on the backside of all the rain, temperatures are plenty warm enough. And then we have the other issue to worry about is the runoff from all this rain and this happening. Temperatures by Sunday night into the teens, 20s, some flurries around, but this is by early Monday morning at temperatures way down to the teens, and that runoff could cause some black ice, and we got to worry about that. That's for Monday morning. The rest of the day, Monday, barely 30. We'll have an extended period of time below freezing and temperatures early Tuesday morning down to the single digits. So that's a whole other animal to deal with there. I'll show you a few other maps here as far as ice impact. And this is our in-house graph model here. So I don't have the numbers on here just to take out any confusion here. Let me let it run so I can turn my cursor on here. Boom, there we go. Notice how it's outlining the higher terrain. This is Walden Ridge, Dayton Mountain, Mowbray, Signal, down to Lookout, into North Georgia, Lookout, Pigeon Mountain here, down to Sand Mountain. And then back here on the plateau, Tracy City, Mont Eagle, Fredonia Mountain, up to Fall Creek Falls. See how it favors, these are the pockets that could get 1/4 to 1/2 inch. There might even be an isolated spot that gets a little bit more, depending on how long that lasts. The other areas in the valley, notice there's a lot of pockets just not anticipating much at all, especially to the south and west. But there are the little pockets here from Cleveland, Chattanooga, and Dalton. This is in that 1 to 2 tenths of an inch, 1/4 inch or less, so to speak. So it's more of in the minor category. Still could be slippery, still could cause some minor power outages. But it's mainly covering the higher terrain, and then way back here east of LG and Blue Ridge where it gets a little bit worse. So it's outlined here. It's these areas where it could be, the most significant icing. And really right here. I'm not an artist, so I'll do my best. But if you take a look at these maps, this is from the Weather Prediction Center. This is the Winter Storm Severity Index based on icing. And it kind of covers the same thing. This is the latest update. And it shows, again, you get into the yellow, the gray, minimal impacts. So our graph model kind of shows about the same thing. Highest impacts are going to be the orange and red, and it's really covering the higher terrain and a few areas where it may last a little bit longer with some colder pockets, but it kind of hugs the higher terrain. So we just kind of take a closer inspection of that. Again, you can see the orange, the red for the impacts, again, favoring Signal, Lookout, up to Mowbray Mountain, and the same thing, parts of Lookout, down near Trenton to the Cloudland Canyon area. So any of that higher elevated area. Same thing here back over Fort Mountain. And the farther north you go, this goes up Walden's Ridge, all the way northern Hamilton County, on into Ray County. To the east, again, really high impacts are going to be well east of Blue Ridge and LJ into the big mountains here. Getting to that purple's not good. But notice how, again, there's a lot of pockets of very minimal impacts. So it's really going to vary location to location tonight. This is just sort of a general outline. And then as far as rainfall amounts, not take out any confusion here. This takes us all the way through early Monday morning, 1.5 to 2.5 inches. So that could cause some runoff. We've not had a lot of rain. The ground typically can absorb a lot of rain, but when the ground is cold, the sponge is not as porous. It can't absorb as much. So there's more runoff. Okay. So especially with a little bit of icing, it's going to be a little bit more runoff. So be aware of that heading into the morning hours. And as far as impacts, so this is an impact scale. I've shown you a bunch of them, but this is a different one. I think a lot of areas, minimal to low for most valley areas, will kind of be in this category right here. Unless anything changes. And if we go longer, that's always in the cards there. But, models are one thing, reality is another. And we have to be aware of that forecasting. And we can't control it. And I can look at the computer model and it shows we should be at 34 at this time. And we're sitting at 30. So you know, an hour or two longer of icing could change you from minimal to low category. But you get to that quarter half inch, which a lot of the higher elevations could be. There could be more scattered outages, some more tree damage, and some more icy travel conditions. So we got to watch that, being a more moderate issue, and just want to stay away from this. But I circle that area over northeast Georgia into the mountains, like around Blairsville and south, well east of LJ and Blue Ridge, where you could get some major outages there. But again, I think in the valley, we kind of stay in this category, quarter inch or less, and then a bit more moderate at the higher elevations for a length of time, but all gradually warming through the night. But the critical time for the more widespread amount is between now and about midnight. And then gradually throughout the night, as that rain picks up, gradual warming. But if you have anywhere to travel, I just kind of stay put until after tomorrow morning, when it's all just mainly rain. But even with that said, wet roads and ponding on roads, just staying home. It's good football on tomorrow. I'll be working though. Wish I could do that. But we'll be tracking rain by that time. So we just want you safe. The reason why we do all these updates here. Let's see. Let's go back to the temperatures here. I don't think they've changed much at all. Nope. Still about the same. See, Fort Payne sitting around 40. 45 Murphy. 32 Cleveland, right at 30 Chattanooga. And let's go to the radar view. I'm seeing more comments about Purple Rain. It's a good song, good movie too. I'm old enough to remember when the movie came out and went to the movie on opening weekend. I'm that old. Let's see. Tommy just says, just raining in Rocky Face. Let's see. Yes, good advice, April. April says that freezing rain plus freezing temperatures equals ice. Just stay home. That's good advice there. Thank you, Judy, for watching in Cleveland. Amanda asking about ice in Tryon. Excuse me. Yeah, Tryon right now, fortunately, is above freezing. And I think this can be very limited there in Chattooga County on how long the icing goes on. Temperatures are up above freezing, may drop a little bit, but I think the time there is more limited. Be aware of that. But I think your time frame is limited there unless temperatures take a dramatic drop at this time. Okay? So all good questions. Brenda says 34 in Lafayette. That's good. I hope you hold above that 32. Hello. Hi, Cousin Annie. Hope things are good in Scottsboro. I know it's a little slippery there in Scottsboro this morning. 29 in Collegedale. Have light rain, which, of course, when there's light rain, 29, that's freezing rain. Hello, Crystal, watching from Athens. Let me pull up. Pulling up the outage map here. Well, trying to multitask here. Give me just a second. Trying to pull up an outage estimate this time. Not having much luck. Let me try this over here. Give me just 1 second. All right. Currently, for EPB customers not noticing any power outages in the EPB area, I'd have to look at the volunteer electric map. But again, no outages at the moment, which is a good thing. We hope it stays that way. But I have a feeling that's going to go up a bit, especially in the higher elevated areas as this icing goes on through the night. Let's see. Curtis says Varnell, just mist and rain. Just keep an eye on that temperature there. Freezing rain, South Pittsburgh Mountain from Stacy. Sharon says freezing rain, Chickamauga, 31. Once again, since y'all are asking about this, the pink red indicates freezing rain. Okay. That is basically rain. Falls all the way to the ground as rain. It's not ice. Falls all the way to the ground as rain and freezes to surfaces that are below freezing. Okay. That's freezing rain. That's what the pink and red represents. Purple indicates some sleet mixed in, where that's a little ice pellet. You've seen the analogy, a glazed donut versus a donut with sprinkles. Well, the donut with sprinkles is sleet. The glazed donut is freezing rain. As much as I love glazed donuts, in this case, I don't want a glazed donut. I don't want the glazing of ice, okay? The green represents mainly rain. And based on temperature profiles, again, we're seeing more rain and a little bit of freezing rain mixed in. But as temperatures warm up above, all right, that's going to change more of that. You're just going to see mainly rain falling, less sleet, mainly rain, but it's going to depend on your surface temperature, on who gets freezing rain and who just gets sloppy rain. Okay. And let me show you again regional temperatures out there. And we'll look at the future track in a minute. For those of you who are just joining us, missed the future track. All right, take a look at these temperatures again. You can see again, you got 30 in Chattanooga, 29 Knoxville, 30 Bristol. So this is line right here. But this southeast wind's trying to come up. There's just a wedge of cold air left over. Okay. Then you got the really cold air coming down to that strong northeast flow, Nashville, Jackson, Memphis, down to Tupelo. This is where it's really icy in those areas, but really warm to the south. And eventually that warm nose will make its way north. It's already up above us. It's already really warm. That's why you're seeing less snow now and just rain and sleet, but of course, freezing rain at the surface. And then it all just becomes rainfall gradually tonight. And these temperatures gradually start inching their way to the north. But again, it's going to be a very slow process and varying levels during the night locally. So again, all it takes is a change of 1 or 2 degrees, and that could change everything all at once. So again, there's the extent of all the warnings locally. Ice storm warning continues. Main concern is going to be this evening through the early stage of the overnight hours of the chance of icing going on. Winter storm warning north and west. They've had a little more snow across the plateau. Winter weather advisory, northeast Alabama, Franklin County, and then over to portions of Polk and Monroe County. People asking for a future track. Let's take a look at it. I'll just show you 2 of them. Here's a high-res model. You've probably seen it. If you study computer models, this is called the HRRR model. And it's pretty good. If it initializes correctly in the hour, it's pretty good. So this takes us to about 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock, you got a lot of green, a lot of purple. Now, again, the purple in this case is mainly freezing rain. Where's the freezing rain line versus rain? So that's around 8 o'clock. You move toward 10 or 11 o'clock. Notice the green starts to expand a bit. All right. It starts to expand northward a little bit more. Again, it's going to depend upon your temperature. But I think at higher elevations, it's going to be a little while longer for that temperature starts to rise. But gradually notice during the night, there more green starts taking over and less pockets of freezing rain as temperatures are anticipated to warm up. Now, again, when in actuality it'll do that is the big question. But the models all favor the warming. Favoring it's one thing, getting it is another. And that's what we got to watch carefully. So I'll show you this next model. Our in-house model is called the graph model. It's a high-res model put out by the weather company, our provider for this model. And this shows an estimate around 6:30, about an hour from now. And it already puts Chattanooga's temperature up to 32. We're sitting at 30. I doubt we'll get to 32 in the next hour, but could be at 31. That's very possible. But either way, it's kind of lining up fairly well what we have right now, where it shows rain to the south and then more mixing with freezing rain and rain. So again, it's falling as rain, but as it reaches the cold surface, it's causing freezing rain, where it's freezing on contact. So this is around 6:30. We get toward 11:30. Notice more of this southeast wind coming in. Okay. So that starts to happen. You just nudge the temperature up a couple degrees. That's all it takes. And you got temperatures going into the low and mid 30s. So by 11:30, more areas above freezing. Not everybody, but more. Okay. And while I got this pause, let me get to this question here. It says, why does my phone and walker say it's sleeting, but it's not, and says it won't be below 34 at night? I'm showing you a model compared to what, I don't know what app you're using. Okay. But a lot of times the apps are just based on one model. Okay. So I'm showing you a different model. So it's going to vary. But what that means is that there's going to be varying changes throughout the night. Some areas warming faster than others. So a lot of times those apps can't keep up with that. Okay, that's what I'm showing you. That's why I'm showing these hourly updates on the models there. But it's a good question, though. So that's by 11:30 tonight. By 2:45, notice that southerly wind starting to strengthen a bit. Now, some areas do, just based on this model, do fall back close to freezing. Okay, others start getting above that level. Even Crossville, kind of note how they're up to 37, at least projected to be. And then more rain through early Sunday morning. So I think by Sunday morning, 8:30, most everybody's above freezing, at least hopefully, limiting any more freezing. And then the rest of the day, Sunday, is all generally rain and just pretty much heavy rain, buckets of rain. And temperatures may skyrocket. You may see temperatures, if that southerly wind increasing, I mean, you could get 45, 47, 46 pretty easily. Okay. So it kind of limits the time. That it's not a long lasting icing. It's a short term one, but it's high impact because of where temperatures are trapped at or below freezing. The reason why we got to watch it real carefully. But tomorrow is more high impact with heavy rain coming in. And most of the heavy rain gets out before temperatures chill back again. Yeah, there may be some flurries tomorrow night. That's not my big concern. There'll be a little bit, but I'm more concerned about black ice tomorrow night into early Monday morning because of the runoff. And again, this is our graph model indicating again, these purple and pink areas here, red and pink, are light amounts. So minor icing. The purple, okay, we go back to purple all the time. The purple indicates heavier icing. Could be in that quarter, half-inch range, and it's going to vary. But it mainly hovers the higher terrain, okay? Our local mountains around the city have higher odds. Signal, Lookout, Mowbray, Dayton Mountain. You mentioned South Pittsburgh Mountain. Back here to Mont Eagle, all that around Fall Creek Falls area. Higher terrain in Sequatchie County, it's Fredonia Mountain area. In areas farther south, Lookout, Sand Mountain, Pigeon Mountain, those areas, and then farther east as well. So there's going to be some pockets where there's going to be a little bit more. And again, the impact of that is this, the ice impacts. And it doesn't take much to make things slippery. But at the rate the rain is falling, it might keep those roadways more wet than icy. It's more of the exposed objects that are going to be chilled by the temperatures near freezing. I noticed even as we had the snow and sleet this morning, if you noticed some untreated, there were some roads that were slippery, but a lot of the untreated roads even weren't that bad. They still had that warmth from the past couple of days where temperatures in the 40s and 50s. So that was okay, but still be very careful. What may look wet could actually be a little bit icy. But I think in the valley, we're going to be in this range low to minimal because of the shorter duration of any icing going on. And I think south of the state line, even lower amounts because temperatures have jumped up. They may drop back initially, but still jump up or drop down just a little bit. I think the higher elevations will be more in this category, So more scattered outages. The wind gust out there are going to be pretty strong, and I'll show you that in a minute. That could cause more outages because the weight of some of the ice in the trees, they may fall a little bit more. Want to stay out of this range. I mean, any long duration, you're going to have that happen. But I think that's going to be limited to areas in northeast Georgia and the mountains. But again, any length of time longer with heavier rain, you get to that category. We don't want that. We want to stay as close to this range at all possible. Let's take a look at the wind gusts out there. I mentioned that. Because as low pressure moves to the south of us, the pressure difference is going to cause these strong wind gusts, what we call gradient winds. That's where the pressure change. And the wind gust at the moment, not too bad. Got occasional gusts around 15, 5, 15, 8. I'm going to show you the wind gust potential tonight. Let me find that graphic. I had that up a second ago. Well, it was right before we start the broadcast here. Where's that wind gust potential? I got so many different slides that I've been using the past several days. Things get lost. Let me find it here. I can tell you that winds will be gusting tonight 15 to 25 miles an hour. And at high profile areas at the higher elevations, it's going to be a lot stronger. And when I finally find that map, it'll show you the wind gust potential through the night and through the day tomorrow. Here we go. This is it. And even winds gusting tomorrow. So take a look at this. So yeah, winds aren't too bad now, but look what happens during the night. This is around 11:30. So you can see why there could be some projected warming going on. With that wind racing coming in from the south, it's going to help push that warmer air, not just above us, but also near the surface, help push temperatures up. So winds could be quite gusty, but that's also a factor in the areas that get the early to mid-evening icing, especially at higher elevations, that could cause some trees to be down and more notable power outages. So those winds are pretty brisk. So that wind's going to be picking up during the night. So for many areas, it may just be a rainy, windy night, good night to sleep and no worries. But for others where it gets icy for a while, it's going to add another factor to that. This is a little bit dangerous. We go through tomorrow morning, the winds subside just a little bit briefly after the morning, but then by afternoon, well, they pick back up 15 to 25. And that's going to start bringing in very cold air heading into Monday morning. So I'll show you the wind chill. We're getting way out toward Monday here, but let's just show it to you. This is a projected wind chill. So there's a wind chill by Monday morning. Single digits to below zero possible wind chill. So that's by Monday morning. That's not currently. That's Monday morning. I know I'm showing more purple, right? But that's what that means. Bitter cold wind chill. So that gives you an idea of how things can get much colder. And the reason why the wind will dry some of that surface on Sunday night, Monday morning, but there's still going to be some runoff that may allow for some icy travel in spots. So again, that's wind chill Monday morning. Here are the current temperatures at the moment. Pop up momentarily. There we go. And again, not much change overall. But again, this warming process is not a fast one. It's very slow. It tends to be slower when there's precip. But once that wind strengthens this evening, you saw those wind gusts pick up. That's when the warming starts to pick up a bit more, which may help limit icing in the valley, but may allow it to last a little while longer at higher elevations. Let's see. All right, there's current radar. This is all real light precipitation at the moment. And this is live radar as of 5:37 Eastern time. Got some gaps showing up to the south, so a little bit of a break going on. This is still not the deep moisture yet, still very light, thankfully. But again, even the lightest bit of precip, when you're below freezing, makes things slippery. So be careful on your walking outside on the deck, sidewalk, areas that have been exposed to that cold and can make the things freeze on contact. And again, this is all pink, red, freezing rain. Little sleet still mixed in, but again, the warmer we get up above, the more it's just mainly rain falling and at the surface reaching as freezing rain. And again, we're going to see that coverage start picking up as this area right in here starts coming in 7, 8 o'clock. And it's going to be that, along with the strong wind gusts, that we've got to really watch carefully. I've mentioned this window, 6 o'clock to midnight, is a really key 6-hour time frame to keep an eye on who gets icing and how quickly temperatures start to warm. And again, it's going to vary. 1 or 2 degrees makes all the difference in the world. I've seen it pour rain at 32 and nothing. I'd rather be at 33 or higher and raining. I don't want any icing going on. And then, of course, we get toward tomorrow, more of this deeper rain down here starts moving in. That's the really heavy stuff that comes our way. I wouldn't be surprised to hear some rumbles of thunder either tomorrow. Let's look at some of the comments here. Tina says really cold in Cleveland, little patchy snow, spots on cars. Let's see. Spring City, Watts Bar Dam area, only a little drizzle. Went out on the driveway, no ice, just all water. Well, that's good. All right, Steph says freezing rain, Middle Valley. Got long icicles hanging off the back porch rail. So yes, temperatures there are definitely still below freezing, and that's exactly what's happening. It's freezing rain. Be careful out there. Try to just stay inside for the night. And Rebecca says, I'm upset, no snow or nothing for Etowah. I blame Mother Nature. Yeah, that's how weather goes sometimes. It's all fluid dynamics up above. But I understand. I like snow too. I got you. Bobby says it's not done. Nothing here in Dunlap. Everything's done melted. Bobby, in this case, with an ice storm warning, that's a good thing. Melting is a good word right now. Appreciate your comment. Let's see. Brenda Gregory says freezing rain, Hamilton County at the Bradley County line. Okay. Thank you, Brenda. Melissa says rain and freezing rain in Red Bank. Judith, hello from Rising Fawn. Jeff says light rain in Ringgold. Brittany says it's raining in Ocoee. Yeah, really, that part of Polk County, you're way above freezing. So it's all just a cold rain right now. Chris asking about the paper route to deliver. Chris, I'd be very careful because, you got to really be mindful of temperature, and temperature changes in just a 5 or 10 mile span. So if you're delivering tonight, be careful. A lot of areas may just be wet. Just be careful. That's the best thing I can tell you. I think it's deeper we get into the night, the more temperatures get above freezing and you're just dealing with rain. But just take it easy. So Deborah says freezing rain in the Graysville, Rain County area. Steps have ice. Stay inside. Let that melt before you go back out. Steady rain in Dayton by the river. No icing. That's good. Yeah, that's what I'm cheering. I'm cheering for just rain. Of all the wintry weather, ice storm, I don't want it. But unfortunately, we're going to have some areas that start seeing that tonight. But again, the more that warm air can get in, the shorter the duration can be. And that's what we're really watching and anxiously watching through the night. So Larry says, hey, Larry Catlin. Looks like maybe a little bit of light mix and rain between Ringgold and Varnell on Highway 2. Lisa says raining in Whitwell. So there again is the rain. And here again, are the temperatures, the critical things we're watching. Again, we're seeing those really south and east of the state line and then east toward Murphy, all staying above freezing. In areas north, getting a little bit below, staying below freezing, but starting that steady climb just a bit. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up this broadcast. Not the only one we're doing tonight, just kind of giving you an update on what to expect. And we're going to do some on-the-air updates into the evening hours, but I'll be back later this evening as we watch more of this move in and check temperatures and see how things are progressing as we go through the night. See if the weather behaves for us. That's what we want. So anyway, thanks so much for happening here. Thanks for watching this, and we'll keep you updated throughout the night as we always do, as we've done for the past several days. And again, we'll have more updates. But thanks for watching. Be sure to like my page. You'll be alerted when there's a new live stream started, and we'll keep you posted throughout the night. Stay warm, stay dry. Most importantly, stay safe. Thanks for watching, everybody.